Good morning. Today's Thursday, December 9th, and we're bringing you the latest news making headlines to help start your day.
Law enforcement is warning shoppers and retailers about organized retail crime that's becoming a growing trend.
And our Tori Cooper is live in Marietta near some major retailers. She starts off our coverage in today's Morning News Rewind.
It may seem odd that if you aren't the one stealing from a retail store like Home Depot, how could you possibly be involved in a retail theft, right? But turns out if you are an online shopper and you're not careful, you could run into these criminal activities online.
It can happen in a split second.
It's anything inside the store, from home goods to clothing items to cosmetics.
And it's called organized retail crime. Stores like Home Depot say they are seeing an increase in organized groups rushing into stores, snatching up goods, and taking off.
They tend to look for product that they can resell very quickly. And then what we've been seeing over the last few years is that the product usually ends up on online marketplaces or social media platforms.
This video shows the many products they've already come across with the help of law enforcement, hoping that if you see discounted items just like this popping up on your feed, you question it and ask yourself, why would someone resell simple goods rather than just returning it? That way you aren't supporting organized retail crime.
Bad actors trying to sell stolen items are probably not going to be as likely to meet you or try to come up with an excuse. That's the time to raise the flag.
Now, just to give you an idea of how wide scale this trend is becoming, experts say just last year, $70 billion of goods were stolen and were resold online. And they are projecting that that number will likely be much bigger this year if the trend continues at the rate we are already seeing. Reporting live in Cobb County, I'm Tori Cooper, CBS 46 News.
Yeah, Tori, thank you so much for that good information. 6:37 is your time right now, and trending right now, apologies from the Prime Minister of Finland. She was seen clubbing over the weekend.
Yeah, you got to look out for that, huh? Our Brooks Baptiste joins us with the stories topping your social media feeds. Not necessarily a headline you're used to seeing, right?
Right, definitely not. Yeah, so here's the thing. Prime Minister Sanna Marin is not apologizing for clubbing necessarily, but she's apologizing because she had been exposed to COVID-19. Yeah, that COVID exposure happened on Friday during a meeting with a foreign minister who tested positive the following day. Maureen says she missed a text message Saturday advising her to self-isolate. But the good news is everyone who was involved there has since tested negative. Now, with 2021 coming to an end, Google has released its year-end search, and Georgia made the cut. This is exciting right here. So as you know, back in 2020, coronavirus topped the trending search list globally. But this year, sports dominated global searches, making up 8 of the top 10. The late rapper DMX and the Korean Netflix show Squid Game also made the global and U.S. list. But here's where Georgia came in, talking about the Senate race, which decided control of the Senate and government stimulus payments. Those were all on the list as well. And trending this morning, when someone calls you the GOAT, you're not supposed to be offended. You're supposed to take that as a compliment, but it's apparent somebody forgot to tell Meryl Streep this. So on the set of their newest film, which comes out this Friday actually, it's called Don't Look Up, people on set were calling the 3-time Oscar winner the GOAT, which she took to mean old GOAT. Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence, who is also in that movie, had to explain to her that GOAT is just an acronym. It means greatest of all time. She wasn't calling her old, but definitely Meryl Streep. That is just too funny right there. And I can only imagine what that conversation was like.
This story cracks me up.
It's an important distinction, right?
Right?
It is. Old GOAT and GOAT, pretty different.
Not the same, right.
Keeping an eye on today with the stories you need to know.
Another federal vaccine mandate is gone. The Senate voted to overturn President Biden's COVID vaccine or testing mandate for large private employers. The Democrat-led House isn't expected to take up that measure. The emergency rule was issued in November. It was supposed to take effect January 4th.
Today, the New York City Council is expected to approve the measure that would allow non-citizens the right to vote in citywide elections. If it passes, non-citizens will be able to vote in races for mayor, borough president, and city council. It would take effect on New Year's Day.
Canada is joining the diplomatic boycott against the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says it's meant to send a message to China about its human rights record. President Biden announced the boycott earlier in the week. Australia and Great Britain also followed suit.
A computer chip company called Micron plans to open a design center here in Metro Atlanta next month. The company says it would like its new facility for memory chips to be near Georgia Tech and other Atlanta area colleges. The center will create 500 new jobs.
And Americans are still quitting their jobs at near record levels. 4.2 million workers quit in October. That's down slightly from the record that was set in September. At the same time, there were 11 million open jobs. Now, hospitality and transportation companies are boosting pay and also benefits to try to get more workers.
A CEO who fired 900 employees on a Zoom call is now apologizing. Vishal Garg of Better.com now says he, quote, blundered the execution of the layoffs. On the controversial Zoom call last week, Garg told employees, quote, if you're on this call, you're part of the unlucky group that's being laid off. But now he's acknowledging that the manner in which he announced the layoffs made the situation worse.
Happening today, the mother of a teenage murder victim is going to join forces with the group that wants Buckhead to break away from the city of Atlanta and form its own city.
CBS 46's Rebecca Schramm is live in Buckhead this morning. Rebecca, that mother supports the group's pledge to ban water boy sales.
Yeah, her son was a water boy and it got him killed. Well, in just a few hours from now, she will stand shoulder to shoulder with the group that wants to form Buckhead City. The group hopes that support will lead to more support for their movement.
It's so wrong. Nobody should have to lose their life.
Tomika Pless's 18-year-old son Jelani was a so-called water boy selling bottled water at busy intersections to make a little cash. He was shot and killed in June of 2020 after selling water on someone else's turf. There were other incidents too, including a driver being shot for refusing to buy a bottle.
Taking cars, jumping in on top of people's cars in the middle of traffic, chasing people down. It's gotten out of hand.
About a year ago, Pless started an online petition to try to convince the city of Atlanta to ban water boy sales, but no one from the city took action. So she went to the Buckhead City Committee, which is expected to announce today that if Buckhead breaks away and forms its own city, water boy sales will be banned here. The group will also announce a partnership with Myron Fontaine, known as the Prison Doctor, a motivational speaker who dedicates his life to keeping kids out of prison.
It needs to be another initiative in place, something better that we can do.
In the upcoming session, Georgia lawmakers will decide whether to allow the issue of Buckhead Cityhood on the ballot. If that happens, it'll be up to voters in the Buckhead neighborhood to determine the final decision on that. The announcement on the water boys will be at 11 o'clock this morning. We'll be here and we'll let you know what happens. Live in Buckhead, Rebecca Schramm, CBS 46 News.
All right, check this out. Caught on camera, thieves entering a store, wrapping a cable wire around an ATM, and then moments later, ripping it out. Police say they used a stolen Range Rover to pull the ATM out. The operation involved at least 4 suspects. Investigators say they were out in a little over a minute. Police say these suspects hit 2 more convenience stores. This was in Connecticut.
Wow. All right, just about 16 minutes after 6. Developing this morning emotional testimony from the mother of Dante Wright. He's the young man who was killed when a Minneapolis police officer drew her gun instead of her taser.
I wanted to go comfort my baby. I wanted to hold him. And I wanted to protect him because that's what mothers do. You protect your children. You make sure that they're safe.
Wright's mother was on the phone with her son when he was killed. In body camera video, former officer Kimberly Potter can be heard shouting a taser warning before firing her handgun. Potter's attorneys admit she made a mistake. Potter could face up to 8.5 years in prison if she's convicted.
New this morning, a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launched into space this morning. On board is an X-ray telescope that NASA is sending into space to study collapsed stars, black holes, and other bodies that trigger outbursts of high-energy radiation. Sound like I know what I'm talking about there, right?
I think it looks pretty cool.
It does. Well, this morning, CBS 46 is welcoming legendary Atlanta journalist Monica Kaufman Pearson to our team.
She's coming out of retirement to host new programs on the air starting in 2022. CBS 46's Karen Greer sat down with her about the future.
The very things that made me stand out and memorable also made me a lightning rod.
For nearly 5 decades, Monica Kaufman Pearson has captivated television viewers with her class and grace. Monica has 33 Southeast Regional Emmy Awards. She's in the National Association of Black Journalists Hall of Fame, the Georgia Music Hall of Fame, and the Georgia Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame, to name just a few of her many accomplishments.
Finally, we're going to get to work together. I've always called you my little sister, and we belong to the same sorority, and we've always been good friends, and now we're going to be co-workers. I love it.
I love it. I love it. After 47 years in the Atlanta television market, Monica unplugged her microphone and retired. But you didn't see her traveling the world or knitting blankets. The Louisville native chased her dream of receiving her master's degree, graduating with honors from the University of Georgia.
I taught for a year. I did radio, had a radio show, and then I started doing commercials, and it was like this opportunity came along, and I was like, yes! I love doing interviews. I can't wait to see you perform in Atlanta.
Monica has a way of making people feel comfortable. The two-time cancer survivor says she's honored to join the CBS 46 team, doing what she loves.
That's what I like to do, is to get people comfortable enough that they will tell me things that they don't normally share. This was such an opportunity. I had to come here to do what I think I do best. I know some people are going to be disappointed, but you know what I've learned at this point in my life? For years, I've made it about everybody else. Now it's time to do for me and not feel guilty about it.
You were brought to tears.
Yes, and I don't cry easily. You know, I hate to say this, I didn't even cry at my mother's funeral, and you all had me in tears.
I paid my dues. We all know she's one of the greatest interviewers in the country, and I think that people will be lining up to spend time with her. So we'll have a 1-hour interview show that at the beginning of next year we'll run once a month. Starting in July, we'll start running that twice a month. And then there's the other show that Monica has in development. She did something similar once before. We're working on the details of that. We're going to get the cast. We're going to get everything figured out in the first quarter of next year.
Karen Greer, CBS 46 News.
Thanks for watching CBS 46 News. Watch us live wherever you are, our mobile and our streaming news app. You can also watch us on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.